Hey guys, 𝚟𝚗𝚗𝚝 here, and welcome to the RPM Excellence Tournament number 5 Grand Finale. A total of 32 different players took part in this tournament, coming from many different countries and representing many different clubs. They started out in 8 different brackets of 4 players each. Then the first and second place winners of each bracket would go on to face winners of other brackets, and so on down till we got 4 for the semi-finale bracket. Now there was also a comeback bracket where those who had been eliminated previously would be able to come back and prove their skills for a chance in the final round. And after everything was said and done, the grand finale races consisted of Nilo, Moad, 𝚟𝚗𝚗𝚝, and Wadake. Let us now take a look of some of the best races from each of these players. Nilo is from the United Kingdom. He was a finalist twice for ESL Mobile and once for the Asphalt Series 2020. He came out of this tournament with 5 wins and 1 defeat, and let's check out some of his best races. Our next grand finale competitor is 𝚟𝚘𝚗𝚝, who is from Japan. He was a finalist in all 4 of the previous RPM Excellence tournaments. He was a 2-time Japan Cup champion, and he came out of this with 4 wins and 0 defeats. Let us now look at some of his best races. The next racer in our grand finale bracket is Moad, who is from India. He was the 2021 Realme Asphalt 9 Championship winner, and he came out of this tournament with 7 wins and 1 defeat. Let's now take a look at some of his best races of the tournament. And last but not least, the final player in the grand finale bracket is Wadake, who is from Japan, and he was also a Japan Cup champion. He came out of this tournament with 4 wins and 0 defeats, and now let's take a look at some of his best races. And now, for what you have all been waiting for, the RPM Excellence Tournament number 5 Grand Finale race. All players are using the 𝚟𝚗𝚗𝚝𝚎𝚗𝚘 Jesko on Moat Finale, which is a variant of the Osaka track. They all 360 off the first ramp, pick up the yellow nitro, and then shockwave off the second ramp, with 𝚟𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗 being the only one to 360 off the second ramp, and 𝚘𝚗𝚗𝚗 being the only one to 360 off that ledge there. I believe this may have cost 𝚘𝚗𝚗𝚗 a few frames, as his speed drifting around that turn was not as high as those of the others. They all drift around the S-curves and then shockwave out of it into the center route here. You can tell every one of these players has been practicing a lot. They all go up this ramp, then save up for a shockwave and wall ride around this turn. Wadake is the first to shockwave, and then 𝚟𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗 and 𝚘𝚗𝚗𝚗 both do a 360 to gain nitro before going up this ramp. 𝚟𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗 and Wadake are both just frames ahead of 𝚤𝚗𝚗 and 𝚘𝚗𝚗. They all 360 except for 𝚟𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗, who still has enough nitro to shockwave around the final turn with the rest of them. 𝚤𝚗𝚗 gains just enough ground to be able to take the victory in this grand finale, beating out 𝚟𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗 by just a 60th of a second, and the other two are not far behind. And so, RPM 𝚤𝚗𝚗 is the champion for the RPM Excellence Tournament number 5. All of the practice in his previous tournament certainly paid off for him. In second place is RPM 𝚟𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗, who finished just a single frame behind. He was neck and neck for Wadake throughout most of the race, who came in only a 10th of a second later. And to round out our top 4 is 𝚘𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗, who finished about half a second behind the others, but still posted an extremely good lap. Of course, we have to mention some of the other amazing racers as well. In 5th position, Pro Team 𝚟𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗, 6th RPM Marco, 7th RPM Flins, 8th RPM Renpap, 9th Work Finn and the fabulous 3921, 11th RPM Jster and Pro Team Adid82, 13th RPM Fra and RPM Pulsar, and in 15th RPM Prime and RPM Freeze. I sat down with the winners of this tournament to find out their story, what they learned from the tournament and perhaps some of their motivations behind it, and also what they would like to see in future RPM tournaments. Joining me now is 𝚘𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗, who ended the finale in the 4th position. Welcome, and it's good to have you.
Hey Furam, thanks for having me.
No problem. Well, so tell me a little bit about yourself, and which club did you initially begin your Asphalt 9 career in?
I initially began with this club called Red Bull Racers, and they changed their name to Red Barons, and I was just playing, and then I got invited to 𝚑𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗 to play with a lot of old Asphalt players like Raja, Fab, and like sort of 𝚑𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗 just dissolved. Afiq went to Windows, then I moved on to Pro, and like I was like in top 10 in the leaderboard, so then they promoted me to their leader and one of the captains actually, I should say, and that's just how it went. And then I sort of lost interest in the game. There was a point where I took a break from the game, and I sort of kept my distance from Pro. And this team called Dream, they invited me to join, and I always had something in mind. Like, actually they were not called Dream, but I always wanted to make a team for myself and call it Dream Team. So they were like, you know what, we'll just rename our team to Dream Team. Just because you wanted to.
Well, that is super cool. I mean, you got some pretty quick promotions in there, and hey, you ended up with a team named exactly what you wanted it to be. That is super cool. So, in relation to this tournament, you may have had a bit of a slow start toward the beginning. I think you fell back into one of the comeback rounds, but then you came back for 6 consecutive wins after that. Was there anything that you learned from that experience in particular, or just from the tournament in general?
Yeah, I did learn quite a lot. I personally think that when the tournament ended, I came out a better player than I was when I started, because I was taking it very lightly.
Yeah. Like
on the first round, I was like, okay, you know what, this will be easy. And right in the second round, I get paired with Kas and I get paired with 𝚟𝚒𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗 and Wadake. I was like, oh my god, okay, maybe I have to play a little bit seriously. Then I get my ass kicked. Oh my god. And I get straight up knocked back to comeback round, and I was like, okay, this is not gonna work. I need to play seriously. And that's when I started giving my best, the best performance I could. And that's how I landed with 6 wins.
Well, that is awesome to hear. I mean, you really came back in a strong way. Well, do you
Yeah.
have any final thoughts or just anything you'd like to say about future RPM tournaments?
Actually, yeah. In this tournament, we had a special event for the final rounds, but I would like RPM tournament to be bigger for the next iterations whenever it comes. I want an open RPM tournament for like anybody to join. So there should be a qualifier event for it in game. Yeah, if that's a possibility, which I think it should be, and something like an RPM tournament invitational. So based on a player's accomplishments in game, the team would recognize it, or the player would like to contact you guys, and that's how you could organize an competition where it's an invitational competition, right? So
Yeah.
if you are good enough, you can get in.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. I think that would be a super
Yeah.
cool way to expand
Yeah.
this tournament a lot. Well, 𝚘𝚗𝚗𝚘, it has been great to sit down with you today. Congratulations again for making it to the top 4, and I wish you the best of luck for any competitions in the future.
Thanks a lot for having me, man. Have a nice day.
You too.
Cheers. Goodbye.
Joining me next is Wadake, who finished the tournament in 3rd place. A warm welcome to you, and to kick things off, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Wadake. I'm from Japan. This is my first time to participate in this tournament. Nice to meet you.
It is nice to meet you too. You played very well throughout the tournament. I believe you started with a 30 FPS device, but finished with a 60 FPS device. Did this affect your races in any way? And was there anything you learned from your experience?
The biggest impact of going to 60 FPS is that it makes nitro break much easier. 60 FPS is more advantageous, but I felt I could fight even at 30 FPS.
And you certainly did. You made it all the way to the grand finale without 60 FPS, which is a great achievement if you ask me. To finish things off, do you have any final thoughts or suggestions about future RPM tournaments?
I enjoyed this tournament. I don't have any specific suggestions, but I hope the tournament will continue to grow.
I certainly hope so too. Well, it's been great to talk with you today, Wadake. Congratulations on your 3rd place finish, and I wish you luck in all your future tournaments. And now we are joined by RPM Nilo, who finished the tournament in 2nd position. It's good to have you, Nilo.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to join RPM.
So I'm just a teenager in the UK, I'm currently studying in college. I remember I played Asphalt 8 casually over a few years, and then once Asphalt 9 released, I decided to just see how far I could get in the game. I remember I managed to join RPM back in late 2018, and in the Google Plus community I started posting videos and screenshots of my progress in the game. And after some weeks, I remember RPM Alex, he sent me a message, and yeah, he invited me to join RPM. And yeah, the rest is history.
Well, that's super cool to hear. My experience was quite similar to that. Well, now, speaking of the tournament itself, you had a very small time difference between yourself and 𝚲𝚗𝚗𝚝 and Wadake. It's all very close times there. So what did you learn from that experience and just from the tournament as a whole?
From that semi-final, I kind of learned that to really master a challenge, you just need to become as consistent as possible in all aspects of the race.
Yeah.
So yeah, whenever I try to do races like that, I just try to be as consistent as possible in each section. And although it does take a lot of tries and a lot of work, just try to concentrate and focus as much as possible.
Yes, for sure. It definitely takes a lot of practice to get those really good times. And last but not least, do you have any closing statements or any thoughts on future RPM tournaments?
For the future of RPM tournaments, to be honest, I just hope they continue as you know, they really bring a wide range of people together. And you get to compete and exchange knowledge with new people in each stage of the tournament. Yeah, I just hope they continue for as long as possible, because it's just a really good thing for this game community.
That's for sure. It's been super fun watching everybody just improving their times all along the way. Well, Nilo, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, congratulations on your 2nd place finish, a very close one, and best wishes for future tournaments.
Thank you for having me.
Let's give a hearty welcome to RPM 𝚲𝚘𝚗𝚝, the winner of this tournament. Congratulations on your first place finish in the tournament, and it's great to sit down with you today. So tell me a little bit about yourself, and how did you come to join RPM?
I have been playing Asphalt 9 since July 2018, and in February 2020, I was invited to RPM by Alex, and I joined RPM.
Okay, well, that is really cool, and you've participated in several of the previous tournaments, if I remember correctly, and it all paid off in this one as you came in first place. Was there anything you learned from practicing extra hard, or just from the tournament in general?
What I learned from the RPM tournaments is never give up.
That's for sure. Yeah, you can't give up. Just keep pushing and you will make it in the end. So lastly, do you have any final thoughts or suggestions about future RPM tournaments?
RPM tournament is the most exciting in this game for me, so I just hope RPM tournament will never end.
Oh yes, I completely agree with you. They have been so much fun to watch, and I've had a blast doing this too. Well, 𝚲𝚘𝚗𝚝, thank you so much for joining me today. Again, a big congratulations for your win, and I wish you the best in all your future tournaments.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, you've heard it from the winners themselves, and now let's take a look at the 5 best laps overall in the tournament. Our 5th place run is by Pro Team Carson L using the Apollo N on 1000 Minarets. Coming in 4th is a run by Wadake using the Acura NSX on Shopping Spree. Coming in 3rd is a lap by 𝚘𝚗𝚗𝚝 using the 𝚲𝚗𝚗𝚝 on Gold Rush. Taking the 2nd position in our countdown is a lap by RPM 𝚲𝚗𝚗𝚝, who used the Bugatti Chiron on the Freedom round. And of course, our best run of the tournament is none other than RPM 𝚲𝚗𝚗𝚝's run with the Jesko on Moat Finale. I'd like to now give a special mention to all of the Glory Tournament mentors, as well as the organizers of the tournament and the editing team. And we can't forget to thank Gameloft for hosting the Grand Finale as a free try TLE event. Thank you all so much for watching. Please give the video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed, and consider subscribing to the RPM Asphalt Team channel for more Asphalt 9 content.